Good morning, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend. Tonight, pardon me, this morning, I'm going to come to you regarding, and we could have went over this a while back, but I feel there's a reason we need to go over this now, which would be the 911 audio for Chris Skinner on the day that he passed away. And why we're going over that is because there seems to be some questionable things within that call when we put it side by side with the incident report and the supplemental report. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first play for you and thanks to Fitz News, who put it up back in April 22nd of this year on their YouTube channel. And they had put up the 911 audio for us. And it's about a little over 4-minute audio video. So I'm going to play that for you guys now. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go over some things that are said by the caller. And there's good reason, and you'll see why. So let me get that on the screen first for you, and then we will go over the supplemental report. So let's see. Oopsie. Sorry about that. I just hit my mic. Okay, so let me play that for you. Make sure sound is up.
Myrtle Beach 911, what is the address of your emergency?
I don't know the actual address, but it's on the corner of Yorkshire Parkway and Wellington Way in Emmons Preserve.
Yorkshire and Wellington?
Yes, ma'am. It's our pool. It's Emmons Preserve Pool in the Emmons Preserve Community and Market Common.
Okay, what's going on?
We have a dead body in our pool.
You have a dead body in your pool?
Yes, ma'am. They tell me it's a male. His name. He was disabled. His wheelchair and all is in the pool.
Okay. All right. Hold on.
We can't move him.
How long has he been in there?
I don't know, but he's been in there some time because when I first got here at 8 o'clock, I thought it was an inner tube that was, deflated. I didn't go over and look. I'm sorry?
Okay, ma'am. Just stay on the line with me. I'm just talking to my fire dispatch here.
Okay. I don't even know his wife's phone number.
Okay. Okay. Is there anyone out there?
Yes, we were having water. We were going to have water aerobics. So there's like 4 of us here right now. So yeah, someone will be here to let them in.
Okay. Is anyone trying to get him out, or
they tried to get him out, but they can't move him. Is he still in the wheelchair? He's still in his wheelchair. She could not move anything.
Okay, stay on the line, just updating them now. Okay, we've got paramedics on the way.
Thank you. I think he's gone.
All right, and who's gone?
The body in the pool.
Yeah. Okay. All right, and I just want to make sure you said you're Yorkshire and Wellington, correct?
Yes, there's a clubhouse here. You'll see the clubhouse and the pool's just beyond it.
Okay.
We'll have someone at both gates.
Okay. Okay. What's your last name for me, ma'am? Phone number. Okay. Are you a resident there, or are
Yes,
you?
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, I am a resident.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Okay.
here's the address.
All right. Here we go. Let me just update them because they're on the way.
I'm sorry.
That's
They'd
okay.
still be able to get here. It's on the corner of Yorkshire and Wellington Way anyway, so.
All right. 1 minute.
You never go to go alone, you know what I mean? Why do you think that?
Okay. Yeah, he's in the wheelchair. They can't get him out.
Who are you talking? 911. Well, I'm talking to Myrtle Beach. She's got paramedics on the way. I talked to, it was Horry County first.
All right, ma'am.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. That's okay. I just want to verify again. All right, perfect. Yep, they are on the way. I've got units coming to you, okay?
Okay, thank you. We will have
Thank
someone
you.
at the gate to let them in.
Yes, ma'am. I did update them now, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so let's go over a couple of things there. Let's go over a couple of things. So this takes the heat off. Let me see. As far as I'm concerned, of the supplemental report should be here. No, this is the actual event report. No, that's not what I wanted. I want the supplemental reports. Let me see if I can get that for you guys. I have a feeling I can't. I might have to read it again, like I did the last time. Oh, let's see. Just give me a second, guys, because I really thought I had it here. Yeah, there's something very questionable about the timeline. And, this person has not, as far as I know, been interviewed. These are not one of the people who've been interviewed by the Skinner family. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm sorry. I should have had this ready for you guys. I don't know why. Incident report. This should have it. Because I'm really looking for the supplemental. Okay. Here we go. All right, we got it now. Pardon me for that. So let's start off with, I want to make something very clear to you. According to the records, the phone call came in at 8:49 a.m. So with the first responders coming at 8:56, this takes the first responders off the hook. They obviously responded in a timely fashion to when the 911 call came in. So that makes more sense to any first responder that's out there. Okay. I just want you to know we're still working on those videos and pictures. And as well, BoobTube was able to pick up that there was crime scene tape seen on the actual fence where you see people going in and out. So they did try to secure the area. So the first responders are off the hook. Now, like I said, we're still working on those. That's why I haven't put anything up yet. But we're going to talk about the 911 call. She shows up at 8 a.m. She claims that she sees a inner tube. Now, I don't know about you. I'm 58 years old. I've seen plenty of inner tubes throughout my life, and they don't look like a seat sticking up out of the water. Because there was a video out there a while back where you could see, or at least a glimpse of the top of his chair, the top of it, the back part where he would put his back against, sticking out of the water. That's number one. Number two, the supplemental report says that they got there between 8:30 and 8:40. She says, got here at 8 a.m. Which one is it? And if you got there at 8 a.m., why did the cameras not pick up you and your friends trying to pull him out of the water? Again, the camera comes into question. So it doesn't make any sense to me. Remember, he's weightless in the water. You didn't know where maybe Susie lives. Nobody could run over there and get her. There wasn't someone you could run after within this entire hour from 8 a.m. to 8:49 that could have jumped in and maybe tried to get him out of that water. The other thing is that she says, I'm a resident and we've got people at both gates. Okay. And remember, there was a gentleman standing by one of the gates taking photos or videos or something. I don't know how long he was there, but he's seen there at 8:56. So I don't think we see when he arrives, but we do see him there at 8:56. I don't, just seems to be there's more questions now than there were answers. If you walked in at 8 a.m., you're getting ready for a class. Now, I know that there are trees and foliage and bushes and whatnot around the pool, and you kind of look over from the other side of the pool area, let's say far away, you see something black in there, you might be able to dismiss it. Nobody wants to think or even expects that a person in a wheelchair is going to drive themselves into a pool. Okay, so that's unexpected. But I don't think it would take a complete hour before you would notice it. Now, here's the thing. She says, we tried to get him out. We tried to get him out. I have to ask again, why did it take an hour or almost an hour, 55 minutes for you to call, or 50 minutes for you to call 911? If there was 4 of you, why didn't somebody realize I need to call 911 while I'm unable, this one person who's trying to get him out is unable to get him out? Everybody's got a cell phone. Everybody. Even if you're standing there at 8:30 and you're trying to pull him out and you can't, why would it take you till 8:49 to make a phone call? I don't understand that. I don't get that. This is not on the first responders anymore. So where is this lady? Where is she? You don't have to come forward to me. You don't have to answer to me at all, but have you spoken to the authorities? Have you explained yourself and on why you showed up at 8 o'clock in the morning and allegedly didn't notice him until much, much, much later? I just can't believe that you couldn't see a large black chair inside a 4 or 5 foot area of the pool This wasn't in the 6-foot area, wasn't the deep end. And that you couldn't see a man attached to it. The timing is not adding up. The timing is not adding up at all. Not at all. You know, just like the Micah story, there was some patsy that was hired to make the call at a certain time when we all knew it was, you know, okay, the scene is good and ready. Go ahead, call. Exactly. I mean, you see the dog running around. You see this thing in the pool. Don't give me that it's a round-looking inner tube. A round look that, by the way, floats on the water. Inner tubes don't stay at the bottom of a pool. They float. They would have been floating if it was an inner tube. This wasn't floating. And if it was, then I really have to question why you didn't call 911 sooner. And that you admit on the 911 call, I got here around 8 o'clock. That's 4 minutes after he went into the pool. This man could have been saved. Now, I hate to think that this is an elderly woman. Maybe she had bad sight. I don't know. Maybe from far away, she really could not tell what it was and dismissed it because it was an unexpected thing to see or unexpected thing to think would be in the pool. Trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. But again, you're admitting on the call, a call that you're making at 8:49 in the morning, that you and your other friends or whomever there with you, which is allegedly supposed to be 3 other women, were trying to get him out of the pool, a weightless man out of the pool. Now, maybe they couldn't figure out how to unstrap him. Okay. Then you call 911 right away. You just said you've been there since 8 o'clock. You're not going to convince me that it took you 49 minutes to realize that this was a man in a chair. Or 49 minutes for you and your friends to realize it and attempt to try to take him out of the pool. Or I'll give you 40 minutes. Even at 8:40, if you tried to take him out of the pool and you were unsuccessful, why didn't the call come in at 8:41? Why did it take you another 8 minutes before you called? Exactly. Once again, those magical cameras, those selective motion detective cameras picked up nothing. Nothing of the sort. Nothing. It's almost the same story as Johnny Jacobs going, I heard shots and I heard a girl crying and that whole BS story of, well, when you're from this area, you know, you don't go running towards the shots, but I heard shots, so I went running towards it. Well, which one is it, Johnny? It's the same story we're getting right here. Right here. The cameras don't move except for when there's movement, but magically they didn't move when these 4 people attempted to get him out of the pool. Now, again, once again, let me just read to you. I was able to identify 4 witnesses, so they've been identified, who all reported that they arrived at approximately 8:30 to 8:40. So which one is it? She said 8 o'clock. Why are they saying in the supplemental report? That means that this report was written after the initial report. They arrived approximately 8:30 to 8:40 the morning of the date above and noticed an object in the pool, which they thought was a float or a toy left in the pool. by one of the kids or community members the night before. They reported that when they looked closer, they realized it was one of their community members they knew to be the victim. And that's all it says. And immediately called 911. It says nothing of them trying to jump in and get him out of the water. Nothing. There's not one thing here that says anything about it. If they really wanted to get him out of the chair, they could have. She said in the audio that they couldn't get him out. I call BS. I call BS too. I call BS too. And you see all these witnesses that Steph had put up on, that came out and did their interviews earlier this year. Where are these people? Where are these women? You don't have to talk to us. You don't have to be on a content creator show. But where's your interview? Why weren't you interviewed by the coroner? Because things are not adding up. I know, Judy. That's been said already. The dog was there and nobody noticed it, neither did the camera. Neither did the camera. I don't believe for 1 minute that you could not see this large chair. Don't tell me it's an inner tube. Inner tubes float. If he was not floating in that water, if he was floating in that water, he would have been breathing. He was in the water, so was his chair. So once again, we are faced with a messed up timeline, different stories that make no sense, a supplemental report that comes from, and a report that comes from the police department that doesn't have all the information in it, or it has misinformation in it, a 911 call that makes no sense. Once again, not just Micah's death, now Chris's death. And as I said, all these people came forward to do their interviews because they wanted to help get to the truth of what really happened to Chris. Where are these 4 women? Where are their interviews? That's all I have to say about that. I found that very interesting. I found that very funny. And it was Cassie, I think her name is. No, I'm sorry. From Fitz News. Let me see. She contacted me. She says, I have a timeline you may want to look. Callie, sorry. From Fitz News. And she kind of sent me a small timeline. And then I had noticed the 911 call, listened to it, confirmed that something was not labeled properly, or something wasn't, okay. That's probably worse. They could have even mislabeled the timestamp for 911 call too. I don't sure. Well, again, it's very easy to get the time that the 911 call came in, and you get that from E911, and that came from the actual E911 department, and it says 8:49. So I don't think that's something that's stamped by them. I think that's something that comes in through the clock. The clock stamps it. That's one. You know what I mean? Like, this is not something I don't think that they have anything to do with. But again, we have this woman's voice. We also have the camera itself at the pool giving us a timeline. And we see Chris at the edge of the pool at 7:56 going in. However he went in on his own or forced to go in, we've yet to figure out. We have a supplemental report, or let's just say incident report, saying these alleged witnesses came between 8:30 and 8:40, but the actual witness in her own voice is saying, I've been here since 8 a.m. She said it. She said it. This had nothing to do with Myrtle Beach Police Department. She's admitting, I've been there since 8 o'clock, claiming that it looked like an inner tube in the pool. Inner tubes float. So, no, his hands were not able to work that way. I don't think he was able to do that. I mean, we could always ask his family, but I'm almost positive he did not have the ability to do that. But even so, again, going back to what the witness says, she says, I've been here since 8 a.m. I thought it was a inner tube. Inner tubes float. Most pool toys float. Some you'll see at the bottom of a pool, but none of that size. Also remember that we've heard that Chris tried to put his head up above the water to catch his breath. Okay? If you remember hearing that, there were a few times, of course, the black box is over it. We don't see it. We know of it because we've been told that he tried to put his head up above the water a few times. So what does that mean? That means that at least the top of his head would have been close to the top of the water, or maybe even sticking out of the water for him to do that. So you're looking at 4 to 5 feet of water. There's no way, even if you're looking at the other side of those trees, that you see an inner tube. I would say by looking even from far distance, even from looking from the gate, say, what the hell is that in the pool? And it wouldn't take me 49 minutes to look in. Would not take me that long, especially if I have an aerobics pool, water aerobics class coming up. I want to know what's inside that pool. And again, you guys picked up on it. She claims in there, she claims, that they tried to get him out. Well, why didn't the camera pick it up? So there's a lot more questions once again. And this is, if you remember what we were facing when we first started with the Micah Miller case. Things didn't line up. And the more we dug into it, the more we had realized that she did not do this to herself. So there you go. There's the 911 call. Now, if you want to listen to it again, I could put the link to the Fitz News. Let me see. I can actually do that now. Let me get that for you. And I could put it in the chat so that if you want to listen to it yourself, you can. This is from Fitz News. If you want to listen to it and just listen to what the woman is saying, pick apart what she's saying, you can. But again, I feel like I've gone back a year where, you're listening to the 911 call and you're going, something doesn't sound right. You're looking at the police report. It doesn't add up. But I do, if this caller actually did call at 8:49, we got to take the blame off of the first responders. They did their part. As far as I see it, they did their part. They responded in a timely fashion. And I don't really think this is about them anymore. I think this is more about the people that were involved. And without, risk of repeating myself, where are the interviews of these women that found him? Why aren't they coming forward and saying not to us, but to the authorities, yes, we did see him. Yes, we did try to get him out. Yes, we did try to unbuckle him. And we just couldn't do it. And we finally called 911. Is it because they don't want to answer and why it took so long? I don't know. Are they good friends with Susie? I mean, she claims on the phone she didn't know where Susie lived or didn't know her phone number. She knew who they were. That's what it seemed like. I don't know. What do you guys think? Because to me, it just doesn't fit. It doesn't make sense. And I feel like we're dealing with the Micah Miller all over again. I know the chat usually goes very slow. So if you guys have any comments or questions, it takes a minute to get to me. Anybody? And let me see if I could get the actual incident report here. Okay, so this is the 911 call broken down. I can actually show that to you. Let me show that to you. So this is the 911 call broken down in the in text. Tried to get mail out of pool. Now let me see if it gives an 8:51. It says tried to get mail out, and he is in the wheelchair. Mail in pool. States there will be someone to meet at both gates. 8:52. Let me see. Med 1 emergency 8:54. Yeah, they responded pretty. Okay, one victim out of water, going to be a cardiac arrest at 9:01. Command page sent. That's at 9:25. That's a huge jump. Need fire department to help with assistance. This is 10:21. Back en route at 10:22. En route to police department with wheelchair at 10:36. En route to police department, need available units to help unload chair at 10:39. Outback of police department waiting for 354 alert jail staff, and they are going to help unload the wheelchair, leave patrol units in service. This is at 10:42. And pulling into police department at 10:55. So, yeah, not even close. His wheel never slipped. If you remember, yeah. How would she know that? I don't know why she would even say something like that. I think she was just trying to play stupid, and she's not doing a very good job of it. Although maybe she really is stupid. We all saw it with our own eyes. We saw it, and he wasn't even close to the edge. We saw the left wheel go back and then go forward. So we saw the jumping. Crazy question. Shouldn't there have been an alert on his chair, maybe life alert on him when he and the chair went in? That's a great question, actually. And you'd think that there would be, but who knows? Maybe she turned it off. Somebody, who knows? Let me see. On him that morning, since she's the one who took care of him. Just a thought. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean, remember, she sent him, she allowed him to go to the pool, not sent him, but allowed him to go to the pool, knowing that he was on these meds that made him sleepy, allegedly. I agree. Well, just like Micah, they wrote it off just because of this 911 call, and that was the end of the story. What makes me laugh is that not one person in the area heard him saying, "I want to end it. I want to end it." So nobody even thought to put that in. They went with the narrative that she wanted them to have. Does that sound familiar? She wanted the narrative of an accident, and that's what they ran with. Exactly. They choose the narrative upon the death, and they make the authorities run with it for whatever reason, for profit or whatever. And that's what happened here. Who are you talking about? The people at the pool? Gail, are you talking about the 4 women at the pool? Because allegedly they were showing up to do a water aerobics on Labor Day morning. And this is the reason why they, it was a happenstance that they come and find him in the pool. Yeah, exactly. It's always that way. It'll be over in a couple of weeks. So there's no need to be careful or clean about it, or to make sure all T's are crossed and all I's are dotted. Nobody's ever going to talk about this. Nobody's going to find out. You have to be at least 6 to 7 feet from the fence to see into the pool. There is no way. You cannot stand on the outside of the fence and know it isn't 4 foot or deeper underwater on the bottom of the pool. You have to be at least 6, 7 feet from the fence to see into the pool. There is no way. He wasn't at the bottom of the pool. He's, as far as I know, the chair is standing upright. So if she sees an object in the pool, she sees someone sitting upright, a chair even, if she doesn't see a person upright. Remember, he was pushing his head above the water, his face. He was able to take his face and go above the water a couple of times to try to grab air. For him to have been able to do that, the top of his head had to have been near the water or even outside of it. Okay. And the top of the chair itself would have to have been sticking out. For him, he wouldn't have been able to do that if he was in 6 feet of water. And you can see it's in the center of the pool. What's questionable here is the camera never picked up them trying to get him out of the pool. That's number one. So once again, we talked about these 4 witnesses, and now we've got a 911 call of her admitting or saying they tried to get him out of the pool. Why didn't the camera pick that up? Yeah, exactly. I don't believe it either. No. Yeah, that was said. I can't remember where I had heard that. I think it's in the video. We just can't see it, but it has been said multiple times that he tried to do. And I could confirm it. I can ask the family because I'm assuming they know what the actual video shows, but that's what I was told, that he tried to grab for air. And if that's the case, the top of his head has got to be near the top of the water. And if that's the case, I'm sorry, but that looks nothing like an inner tube. Not even close. Whether you're inside the fence or outside the fence, it's not going to look like an inner tube. An inner tube floats. An inner tube is a round thing that floats. No, it looks nothing like a big chair sitting inside a pool. We don't know that. We have no idea. You have no idea either. For all we know, he was able to do it when he landed on the bottom. We have no idea. Do you have proof of that? We have no idea. Remember, we know that, the top of the chair, okay, you're a family friend. Do you have any idea how tall that chair is? The top of the chair is what matters. And we have it somewhere. We actually have, I wonder if I have it here in a file. Hold on, let me see if I have it. Let me stop the screen. I think I have something here. It would be an image file that will show the specs of the, oh gosh, is it in here? The specs of the chair. Oh, gee. Oh, geez. Could I put it in Micah's? I wouldn't be surprised. Hold on. Micah's FBI. Let me see. I might have in the FBI thing here. This says incident report. No, that's not it. The letter? No. Micah. Let me see. I might have to look in my phone. Okay, here we go. Now, at least let's get it from it. Chris was not able to hold head above water once it hit the bottom. It was below the water line. And he did go in at the deeper point. So he was what? At 6-7 feet? Do you know what the footage was where he was at? I'd rather hear from Tamara. Because that's the middle of the pool. 6 feet. Oh, hold on, let me put it. Okay. 6 feet, and this woman she sees a float. She sees an inner tube. Sorry, I don't believe that. That's very weird. It wasn't Horry County. It was Myrtle Beach Police Department, believe it or not. But I agree with you, I Spy. I agree with you. Well, again, but it doesn't make any sense about, they claim that there was a jump from 756 to 856 on the camera. This is what they put in their report. It's not as if we're assuming that. This is in their actual report. Yeah, same difference. True. Here. Yeah. That's very odd that the middle of the pool is the deepest. I've never heard of such a thing. But then this is Myrtle Beach, so do they do anything that's normal? Let me see. There is no way to see what that was from the outside of the fence, you mean? They had to have went into the fence. Yeah, exactly. Well, right. If it's the deepest part of the pool, as she's claiming, then they absolutely had to be within the fence. If you remember where Chris was sitting, around him was this foliage. So let's just say she's an older lady and she's on the other side of the foliage. And she just kind of glances over and sees this large object in the pool. I'd still question it. It's not an inner tube. I know I got to repeat it once again. An inner tube would float. It'd be on top of the water. So it's not a friggin' inner tube. There's just no way. This was not floating. Chris was not floating on the water. So, okay, let's go here. The middle is always deeper. That's with all the pools I've ever been in large pools, even in resorts in Florida, I've never seen that. Ever. It is weird. It is weird. I've never seen anything like that. See? So once again, the camera didn't pick it up, them attempting allegedly to try to take him out of the water. Right? And some people might say, well, they don't want to give away their identity, so put a box over their face. Or scramble their face like you did the guy standing by the fence. We don't know who he is. If you were so worried about their identity, but at least show us that this is true. But this does take the pressure, or at least the blame, off of the first responders. Because if the claim is that this 911 call came in, and according to this, it's saying male in the pool, 8:50 is what time this is saying the call came in. So, and they responded at 8:56. That's a 6-minute response. Sorry, but exactly, Mary. That's exactly what I think. That's exactly what I think. Just like Micah. Oh. And that's how they seem to do the build. There's a waiting end and then a deeper end for diving. Do you mean at the end? Like I Spy, do you mean at the end or the middle for diving? I know, Constance. Gail wants to know end or center. Yeah, I've always seen them in the end. I've never ever seen any large, not large, forgive me, the deepest end in the middle. Never seen that before. But who knows? I mean, anything's possible. Okay, let's see. What is Constance? I looked at the bird's eye view of the pool. It had at least 6 foot or better of sidewalk between the fence and the pool. If you're outside the fence, you could. Okay. She's talking about the view to the far end and middle. That makes more sense, where it starts in the middle, and starts to get deeper as you get to the end. I've seen that, but I've never seen where in the middle, boom, which also makes it suspicious because, well, we're not going to go into that. Absolutely, Mary. God is going to expose the truth. Don't doubt it's coming to light. Always exposed. Again, and yeah. And what's funny is this 911 call gives no clarity. It gives more questions. Okay. There was 3 cameras, at least at the pool that I know of, all motion censored. I would think the motion would have picked it up if someone jumped in. It picked up when Chris went in. Exactly. And it picked up when the first responders were pulling him out. So, again, this is a selective. 3 cameras have selective motion. I've never heard of such a thing. No, there you go. Ding, ding, ding. So now we have to, unfortunately, this woman's call into the 911 has just lost its validity. Just like Micah's 911 call. Just like it. We questioned that 911 call from day one. Now we have to question this 911 call. And she admits, I've been here since 8 o'clock. Okay, great. And why are you calling 911, according to this, at 8:50, 50 minutes later? I don't remember. Remember all those interviews that Steph put out of all these people that were, interviewed? The father was interviewed. Some friends were interviewed. I don't remember any people by the pool that were interviewed. That doesn't mean they weren't. I'm just saying I don't remember. Maybe Tamara could answer. They move for birds? But everything else should matter if it's near the pool. Right. I'm joking when I say selective motion. I'm actually being sarcastic. Really, I mean, maybe I'm getting weak in my sarcasm as I get older. It does not mean some footage wasn't withheld. I don't put anything. Well, yeah. Right. But it makes no sense to do that. It makes no sense to do that because then it would prove people showed up at the time that they claim in their report. People tried to get them out. That it was an innocent situation, that they tried to pull him off, get him off the chair, that they called 911 when they did. You know what I mean? It makes no sense not to send, and these are in FOIAs. These are FOIA requests. I spy. Is it? Yeah, see? So, as far as she knows, they have not been interviewed. No, okay, I won't. I promise I won't. So she hasn't been interviewed. As far as withholding, I don't know about that. I don't know, because it wasn't me who asked for the FOIA. I'm smarter than that. Right? Okay. See, Matthew's going exactly in the direction I'm going in. Take a look at what Matthew says there. Is the caller a soiled mock member? And you know how they are. They're going to do what their cult leader tells them to do. They're going to follow the instruction of the cult leader. And remember, the cult leader showed up. Cult leader was there. And, as I said, we're still working on, we haven't given up on the videos and stuff. And over the weekend, we were looking at it again, breaking it down frame by frame. And I noticed the police holding Susie's hand in a very odd way, like walking down the street hand in hand with Susie. That was very weird. And it wasn't in a comforting way. It was in a let's skip down the street together way. It was like psychotic. The guy with the remote in his hand, we have video footage of him holding his cell phone. It's not the same thing. You can tell it's a cell phone. It's not his sunglasses, because his sunglasses did not have a band, a string, or a strap on it. And we're able to see that in the video. So what else is it that's in his hand? Yeah. Well, they are weird. No, I know. And I knew better not to be the one to request it. So I had an outside source do it. Because you never know, because they pull that kind of crap. I mean, look, I can't even get the friggin' dash cams for Johnny's accident. Why? I thought the case was closed. They're hiding something. Yes, I agree. And see, that's what I mean about withholding those videos actually makes, they're not helping. They're not helping John Paul. They're not helping Susie. So if they're looking to incriminate them, withholding that video footage actually helps incriminate. It doesn't help, because if they would have put those videos out of these women trying to get him out of the chair, get him out of the pool, and everything, at least to some degree, that's in the report is in the video footage, we could sit back and go, well, you know what? At least what they're reporting is what's in the footage. See how I came on and totally took all the blame off the first responders, because the timeline was made clear by Callie at Fitz News. Okay, You made a formal complaint. Yeah. Yeah, this is what it looks like. And so by withholding any of this footage doesn't, if you're looking to help out the cult leader and his girlfriend, you ain't doing a good job of it. Yep, that's right. Yeah. Oh, I remember that. That was just, and still I can't get, and I've gone to North Carolina AG. I've reported it to the DOJ in Washington. Still fighting. I still want the dash cam footage, but they're not. The only acceptable reason for not giving me that dash cam footage is that the feds are investigating it. And then I'll back off. But if it's a closed case to everyone, I want the footage. It's just a dash cam. Give me a break. I'm not asking for a social security number. I'm asking for the dash cam footage. What are you hiding? So, okay, so there we are. And again, let me just repeat this. They're claiming that this call came in at 8:50 and 33 seconds in the morning. Emmett's Preserve Pool mail and pool. 8:51 tried to get mail out, and he is in a wheelchair. So this is when the call came in. Woman claims on the video in her own voice that she showed up at 8 a.m. So what the hell was she doing, camera, no camera, from 8 a.m. to 8:50 for 50 minutes? What was she doing? Don't tell me she was in that pool area that entire time. Didn't realize that there was a person in the pool. Don't tell me it's a floating device, because it wasn't floating. And you took an entire 50 minutes to try to pull him out of the pool? I give you 10 minutes before you give up and call 911. Why did it take you so long to call 911? So again, I feel like, and I'm going to put it out there, and you want me to say allegedly, fine, that it was a group effort. Like I said, there's Susie skipping down the street with the cop hand in hand. And then she's running back and forth again, hand in hand with the bald guy. It's a very odd scene, her throwing her hands up in the air. The only person that seemed shocked and upset from that whole incident was Micah. Everyone else looked like they were just going through the motions of making sure everything was documented and everything was done. Now, even though we could see, and thank you, BoobTube, for pointing this out, that they tried to section off or they tried to secure the area, still people were going in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out of that area. So it's still kind of, to me, compromised the integrity of the scene. So why are you so comfortable with the authorities that you can compromise the integrity of the scene? And why would you come to a quick conclusion that he either drove himself in or that it was an accident? Why would you just come to that conclusion, the end, shut the book, not even to investigate it? What? What? The integrity of the scene? There. What is that? What you mean? Because there is none. There was none. There was too many people in and out. Two guys on a bike, one standing by the gate taking photos and videos of the first responders taking him out, according to the timeline. It wasn't fabulous. Absolutely not. It was not fabulous at all. I agree. Yeah, Micah will look like the only one that really seemed shook up by the whole situation, really trying to comfort her, and she was just cold as ice. You could see it. We could all see it. Uh, yeah. The EMT that was in here last time, her name was Girl something. I'd love for her to come back in again. Yeah, I know. I know. I know, Tamara. And it actually angers us. It makes us angry because it's like there's I don't know if you remember in the beginning of the Mike Miller when we were all looking into that, investigating it, it is so parallel to the way things were back then. It's frightening. The how you can't line up anything from the report to the 911 call to what actually happened on that day. Nothing lines up. And then people who you would think would be interviewed, you got one guy that's being interviewed all over the place on the news, he ends up dead. And then everybody else, I mean, we never heard from the kayaker. Never, through the whole time. I know, hon, I know you've asked this question about 5 times. I really don't, we've said it. They didn't say anything about the dog anywhere in the report. Nowhere. She was there for almost an hour. So I don't want to say it because Tamara's in the room, but I feel like it was a group effort to make sure everything went the way it was supposed to be planned. It's the best way I could put it, and be careful on my words. Yeah, it seems like that it's not even just Myrtle Beach. South Carolina looks like it needs an overhaul. Politicians from the very high up, Lindsey Graham, you could start with him, and going down the line, you've got judges and cops and police chiefs and doctors and lawyers that just all need to be arrested. And as you know, I've been told over the weekend, not just arrested, but convicted. They all need to be removed from their positions. And I don't think voted out so you can vote in another corrupt person. I think they really need to be removed. It's not like military hasn't done that before. It's not as if it's impossible. It's not impossible. You see the kind of people that are stepping down or being forced to step down or being arrested now. Under this administration, anything is possible. So I pray it actually happens. I think there are a lot of people in that area that want to come forward and are afraid. And I think that's why some of them fall for this kind of stuff. They're afraid to say no, or they're afraid to refuse. And so they go along with evil people's schemes. And they don't say anything because they're in fear. Hopefully the feds have gotten to some of these people and have gotten statements from them by now. Again, they don't have to talk to a content creator, but I would hope that by now they've spoken to the authorities. Yeah, I agree. And trust me, I know I'm not alone. A lot of us cry out to God, when, Lord, when? I know you guys see him on the pulpit again. He's preaching like, there's nothing wrong. Let me remind you, and we all know he's listening. He's still under federal investigation. Nothing's changed. The feds haven't changed their mind. Okay. They're not walking away and saying, well, he's moved on, so I guess we move on. It doesn't work that way. And again, that's why we do the online protest. And I also see the protests are still happening. So they haven't ended that either. So we just keep on fighting until we see the results that we want. That's all. We just keep on going. So please keep that online protest going. You want to do your own protest, that's fine. You don't have to use mine, but tag the people that need to be tagged. Keep the feds tagged. Keep the people above the feds tagged. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah. Well, they have failed. They have failed. Yeah. We need sarcasm. You need, for me, humor gets us through everything. It gets me through a lot. Fire department was there, if I remember correctly in the video. Fire department was there. Ambulance showed up. Fire rescue showed up. That's what it looked like in the video. You know, of course, the police were the first to respond. Do you not remember the video, Gail, that we showed last week with all of them there right in front of us? The dash cam that we were watching, the vehicle right in front of us was the fire department. So, I mean, if this is claiming that the call came in, some say 8:49, this says 8:50, and they were there at 8:56, they really didn't do too bad in their response time anyway. I mean, I can't get angry at 6 minutes. You know, at Myrtle Beach, Labor Day morning, you know, anything could have been going on the night before. They could have been answering a car accident or whatever. I'm not saying that they are great. I'm just saying it's not as bad as last week when I was going, where the hell have you been? When the call came in allegedly between 8:30 and 8:40. Remember I said that? Well, I was wrong, because we now know that the call came in 8:50. How many subscribers? No, you want to know something? I haven't looked. I have not looked. Why is there a lot? Let me look. I'll look right now while you guys are here. I have not looked. Let's see, view channel. Oh, wow. Oh, cool. It has gone up. Well, that's awesome sauce. Thank you for showing me. Wow, that's pretty, yeah. I'm very bad at paying attention to those kind of things, but thank you for pointing that out. Thank you, I Spy. So anyway, yeah, it's a good number. Praise God. My cat is screaming for some reason. I have no idea why. I'm still waiting to finish off the enhancing of that video. I'm like I said, we know it's not his cell phone. That came out clear. You can see the shape. Look at your own cell phone. They have a specific shape. It's like a big rectangle, and you could see it in his hand. We know it's not his sunglasses, one, because it's on his head, and two, because it has no strap. So whatever this was, it had a strap. It does resemble, I mean, there's no arguing with it. I mean, it's hard to debate. This does look like a remote. Why the remote's in his hand, I don't know. But when you piece together that, the supplemental report, and now this 911 call on these women, and the misinformation in that call, yeah. Well, now I got to kind of say, like I said earlier, it's another Micah Miller situation. Yeah, I think the cat's annoyed with John Paul Miller. That's what it is. He's sick of hearing his name. He wants him arrested. I think that's what the cat's trying to say. Cat's fed up. And he doesn't like this story either. Makes him sad. So, makes me upset too. I'm just looking to see. Let me just put this in front of you guys real quick so that we could go over it together before I shut this down. It says redacted, but I don't see the redaction. I think it says event log. I think this is what Fitz News was trying to radio log. So this is a radio log. Timestamp. It says 8:54. So they must have gotten their call at 8:54. And they say arrived at 8:59. En route 8:54, arrived at 8:59. Somebody also arrived at 9:03. Wow. Let's see. What are you saying here? If 4 elderly women couldn't get Chris out, then male bystanders would have normally rushed to help. Just filming doesn't add up. What about lifeguard for pool? I don't know if there was a lifeguard by the pool. You know how they say you're at your own risk? Because I know I have a pool like that too. You know, swimming at your own risk. There's no lifeguard. But I sort of have to agree with the male bystanders. You know, if you remember, there was a guy across the way. He was kind of watering his lawn. I don't know what the hell he was doing out there. If there were 4 elderly women, I'm going to assume, I think it's safe to assume, that at least 2 of them had a cell phone with them. Okay. Why didn't anybody think, after noticing him at 8:00 in the morning, let's say even at 8:10, 8:15 for crying out loud, and you try to pull him out of the pool and you can't, why didn't you call then? Why did you wait till 8:50 to call? Why wait that long? I don't, that's where the question lies. So the lapse of time is not the first responders. The lapse of time, and I'm assuming they're elderly women. I'm not sure if they are. She doesn't sound elderly on the phone. The lapse of time falls with these women, or falls with these 4 people. I don't even know if they're all women. If they got paid off, or if they're following the cult leader. Take care, I Spy. Stay safe. Stay safe and God bless. They didn't do anything for 40 minutes or longer. If they're following the instructions of their cult leader, if somebody had asked, is this woman, you know, from Sald Mach? I mean, that could be the reason why this is all happening. So that's the only thing I could think of. But like I said, this time lapse now falls in the laps of these 4 people, whoever they are. And she admits it on the phone. So it's not like we're making it up in our head. And I just showed you the event log. I just showed it to you. So it's there. I don't know what to say. I'm throwing my shoulders up, saying, you know, I don't know why there's this huge time lapse. Cameras or no cameras. We've got her admitting that she's there at 8 a.m. and we've got the event log. I don't think we need any more. There we go. Hi, BoobTube. Did you? 4 feet of water. Oh my. Okay. The police report, yes. Let me see. Let me open up. I wonder if I could send this to myself. Pool depth. I think I can open my email here. Oh, it did. Okay. Can I Can I share the email, BoobTube? Would that be okay? You tell me. If not, I can just what's it? I'm agreeing with you, Crystal. I don't know. It's again the time lapse doesn't make it look. Okay. 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 All right, let me get the pictures then. Let me get the photos. And what I'll do is I'll just read what it says. I'll just read it. Of course, let me get the can I download? Yes, I can. Hold on. Download. Is that the only picture? Wait. Hello? I guess that's the only picture. Okay. No, dummy. All right. All right, now I have to go and search it. Hold on one second, guys. I have to go search the photos. All right. All right, so let's put up one picture. Image file. So let me put up the actual, and God forbid that I'm able to put up, everything has to be done. So BoobTube wrote only 4 feet where he entered the water, and if people were paying attention to the footage, you can see part of the chair float to the surface after he was no longer in it. The cushion also floated to the surface. Okay. So I don't think I'm able to make this bigger, but I'm assuming where you see the foliage on both sides is where Chris was sitting. And so I could see where BoobTube was saying this makes sense. Beautiful place, by the way. So there seems to be these lines. I'm not sure if you guys can see them, but there's kind of lines on the very top of where the tree area is, and the very bottom of where the tree area is, where Chris was sitting. You know what I mean? Remove from studio. Let me see. This one. It's a stage. Okay, so this is where, I guess, where it floated up. So I'm assuming this is where it was located. Yeah, because you could see the trees on the very top left corner. You could see where the trees are, and it says the footage right behind there. Oh gosh, which I can't read. Let me see if I can open that up more and read it better. Of course not. Fatima. Oh, it says 4 feet. Okay, 4 feet. Okay. Okay, all right. Niley, calm down. Will you stop yelling at me? Okay, Momo. What, baby? Hold on, mommy. Okay. I don't know, Constance. So I'm assuming what we're looking at to the left is where he was sitting? Niley. What, honey? Calm down, please. Is that what we're saying, boob tube? Because what's facing us looks like is where you step in. You step down. The middle section is the deepest part, either 5 or 6 feet in the middle. But is that it? That I don't know if that's. What a strange pool. Well, either way, the only thing that would be floating would be that pillow. He was sitting on it, so we know that wasn't floating. These women can't claim that what they saw was that pillow. I guess there's just, big area of the pool. The outside big area of the pool is 4 to 3 feet. Well, I don't know. I guess I don't know what way that we can solve this, but sure, yeah. I mean, if there's a way to show it, there's a marking right there. But it's hard to read. I mean, it looks like it says 4 feet, but it's really difficult to read. Do they have things that will show like the actual pool? Oh, let me find out what is wrong with him. He's never like this. This cat never does this, so it's very odd for him to be doing that. He's probably out of food. Is there some sort of like I want to say map, but I don't think map is a good idea. Is a good like layout of the pool or something that would show like plans or something of the pool. But you know what? It doesn't matter if it was 7 feet. Fact is, the chair was in there. There's no way it's going to look like an inner tube. No matter, it doesn't matter if it's 10 feet. There's no way it's going to look like an inner tube. Inner tube would have been floating. I mean, if we're trying to do that, if we're trying to prove that he was putting his face up, it doesn't matter about the face going up or not. Yeah. Into his chair around his chest, he had to be, so he did not fall forward. Yes. Well, that we all agree on that. We all agree on that. That goes that we saw him go into the pool strapped in. So that makes, I don't think anybody's disagreeing with that. The fact is, there's no way this woman saw an inner tube. There's no way it looked like an inner tube. There's just no way. It's not going to look like an inner tube. Not in that clear water. No, I don't think he fell out of it either. I think he was sitting up in the chair. I absolutely believe he was sitting up in the chair. So there's no way that these women are lying. Let's just put it that way. I think that they're full of crap. I'm not sure how. I mean, if they were older women who weren't good at swimming and they couldn't hold their breath for a long time, I mean, that could have been, but okay, again, you see something at 8 a.m. Look at your clock. You see something at 8 a.m. It does not look like an inner tube. It's a large black object. You walk up to it eventually, even if it took, I don't know why it would take you a half an hour if you're there at the pool. Okay, so it had a Velcro strap and all you had to do was pull it open. So then again, this does not support their story. I have to call bullshit on this woman's story, because if you're trying to get him out of the chair, why couldn't you get him out of a chair with a Velcro strap in the water? He's weightless in the water. Why are you calling 911 at 8:50 if you're saying you got there at 8 a.m.? Why would it take 50 minutes, 50 minutes, to come to that conclusion that you got to call 911? Or that you yourself could not pull him out of the pool? Why would it take that long? It doesn't make any sense. And there is no way that this large black chair with a person sitting in it looks like, should I get a picture what an inner tube looks like? Does anybody here not know what an inner tube looks like? An inner tube is a big, large, round, floaty thing. It floats on the water. They weren't having trouble. It wasn't part of the plan. Just like the guy who was taking photos at 8:56 of him being taken out. It was, I believe it was a group effort. You put it all together with Susie going up and down the block, the cops holding her hand, the bald guy with some sort of thing in his hand, looks like a remote, and I say looks like a remote because it's not a sunglasses, it's not a cell phone. It looks like a remote. Doesn't explain why he would even have it in his hand. I've had some people come to me in chat and go, well, I think it's his sunglasses. Well, I'm telling you it's not. There was no strap on his sunglasses. We're able to prove that. Well, I think it was his cell phone. No, it's not a cell phone. We were able to see the cell phone. It's not a cell phone. Yeah, exactly. So if it was really Velcro and only Velcro that was holding Chris in, you're going to tell me that water was going to stop them from opening up Velcro? Give me a friggin' break. Yeah, exactly. There's no way it took her 50 minutes to figure out. Okay, let me give her this, 40 minutes to figure out, oh my goodness, that's somebody sitting in a chair in the pool. It doesn't matter if it's 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet, 10 feet, 100 feet. It's not an inner tube. She claims on 911, I thought it was an inner tube. Really? Was it floating? No. So then it's not an inner tube. That's right. He would have been weightless in the water. So you're able to take, so it's Velcro is holding it. You open up the Velcro and you're at least able to put his head above the water and you're holding his body. You could be 80 years old doing that and someone else is calling 911. At least getting his head out of the water. You could have been doing that. You've never held somebody in the water that there would be no way you could hold them outside of the water. You've never done that when you're playing in the pool. Because I've done that. I mean, my husband is 6'5". I could do that with him. If I'm standing in the pool, I could wrap his legs around me and hold him like a baby if I wanted to in a pool. Because why? He's weightless. Exactly, Judy. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Again, we're going right back to the same thing with Micah. Nothing adds up. The 911 call the actual incident, the crime scene, the people surrounding it, the stories surrounding it, nothing adds up. If this was simply an accident, if this was simply that he did this to himself, that's what it would be. Nobody would need to get snarky when they're asked questions or come up with different stories the cameras don't even pick up on. There's no reason to. There'd be no reason to. So a deflated inner tube. Well, she didn't say deflated inner tube, but again, this just drives me crazy. And please forgive me, very concerned, but I want you to imagine, I don't know how many times you've been in a pool, but I've been in them enough living in South Florida. What an inner tube, deflated or inflated, looks like versus an adult size wheelchair, motorized, with a man in it, is a huge difference. Huge. Okay? Whether the top of his chair was sticking up or not, the inner tube, deflated, inflated, would have been floating on top of the water. He was not floating. So I think she's full of crap. I think the people surrounding that video, surrounding that area, are full of it. Okay, well, that's an assumption. We haven't even been able to prove it. It says 4 feet at that one spot, but okay. I've been in pools and plenty of them at resorts, it's not like that at all. Never seen that in my entire life. What? But it's going to take her 50 minutes, almost an hour. Okay, you saw the pool. Let's look at it again. Let's look at it. Let's just do this for argument's sake, because this is going to drive me crazy. You go to the pool area because you're going to get together with some people. In the middle of that pool, you don't see trees anywhere else, right? Do you see trees anywhere else? Because they're at the ends. And if he's at the ends, then he's definitely in the shallow end. So he's in the middle. He's in the middle of the pool. It's the only spot. And he's sitting there, big black chair with a man sitting in it. Show me where she would be standing, where she would see an inner tube versus a wheelchair with a man sitting in it. And she could mistake it for a floating device. Show me. Show me where. Show me where we could mistake a man sitting in a wheelchair, sitting on the bottom of the pool with something that's floating on top of the water. Please show me. I'll wait. I'm sitting here waiting. Show me where you can mistake in that. Those two separate things. One's at the bottom and the other one would be floating, deflated or inflated. It's going to be floating at the top of a pool. Please show me where you would see that. You wouldn't. Why? Because one is not at the top of the pool. One is at the bottom of the pool, and it's at the bottom of the pool. That's it. It doesn't float. The other thing floats, whether it's inflated or deflated. So it's not a friggin' inner tube, okay? Because it would be at the top of the pool. It would be floating at the top of the pool. So she's full of it. She's full of it. Not getting angry with you, but it's like making up a story. You called 911 because it needs to be documented and you need to get people out there to get him out of the pool. His sister just said he's in there with Velcro holding him to the chair. If you're that out of shape that you can't get in the water and take a weightless man out of a chair by taking a Velcro piece apart You shouldn't be doing water aerobics. So I don't understand how this could be, one could be mistaken with the other. Let me get you a picture of an inflated tube. Let me just get a picture of it. Inner tube. Inner tube for swimming. For pool. Images. Okay? Let me put that right here so that we can see it. Niley, hush for a minute. Calm down. I know, Mommy. You see those black things to the left, upper left? That's an inner tube. Whether it's filled with air or not, you see the man floating in it? It's going to float at the top of the pool. Chris was not floating at the top of the pool at all. So there's no way to mistake one for the other for almost an hour. What was she doing for almost an hour? Almost an hour. This isn't 10 minutes. This isn't 15 minutes. This isn't even a half an hour. She calls almost an hour later. She admits with her own voice, we didn't make it up. I got here at 8 a.m. She says that on the 911 call. Why? Because they were told in 2 weeks this will be gone. Nobody's going to care about it. Nobody's going to look into it. Say what you got to say to get them over here and to get him out of the pool. 3 cameras, not 1, not 2, 3. All 3 didn't pick up these women or these people. We're saying women. We don't even know if they're all women. Could have been men. These 4 people trying to get him out of a chair with Velcro. Velcro. Wasn't like he was belted in. Couldn't get him out. All 4 people couldn't get him out with a Velcro holding him in. Weightless in the pool. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't get it. This is the same thing as the Fair Bluff, Bear Bluff. You know, when I had said they're not saying Fair Bluff, they're saying Bear Bluff, and that the actual closed caption was picking up B instead of F. People went running looking for Bear Bluff, and I kept saying, why are you doing that? It has nothing to... They said the words Bear Bluff just to have something to say. It wasn't part of the script. It wasn't expected. There was a script that they were supposed to go by in that 911 call, and it wasn't expected for them to have to answer this question. So that's why they went, Bear Bluff? Like a question. It wasn't expected. It wasn't part of the plan. Well, same here. This woman had to explain on the phone what she thought she saw in the pool. Well, what is she going to explain it? What is she going to say? Well, I saw a black chair in there, but I didn't think anything of it, and I waited almost an hour before trying to get him out and realized I couldn't get him out, so I went, oh, okay, well, maybe now is a good time to call 911. She would have sounded like a moron. So she had to explain herself on why it took her so friggin' long. I found a video on the pool Facebook page. The spot Chris went into was 4.5 feet deep. Okay. Well, there you go. And if that's the case, that makes her story even more discredited. Even more. Because if that's the case, if I remember correctly, and I'd have to go and look, the chair he was sitting in was about in height, the whole chair. That's including the back of his chair that he's sitting against, was over 5 feet tall, or it was around 5 feet tall. So that means the top of the chair would have been sticking out of that water, if that's the case. And she thought it was a floaty device? What? Was she drinking that morning? Well, rigged is the same thing as hacked, Angie. And I've been saying that since last July. And Tamara is back. There was a time where the family wasn't really agreeing with that until somebody came forward and said, well, there was a conversation that was said where there was interest in remote controlling the chair. I use the word hacked because that was the word that Forbes magazine used. In describing overriding any brand, any kind. And this article came out in 2016. So the advancement of being able to do this in 2021 or even today would be greater, right? So in 2021, if somebody, let's say same person, read that same article and realized, oh my God, with a game console, which looks exactly like what's in that man's hands, with a remote control to a game console, name anyone, PlayStation, Xbox, they're all the same. I can hack a wheelchair within 5 minutes, and it gives the instructions on how to do it online. And that means that they can override the driver, Chris being the driver. Tamara's she's already open to the fact that the FBI they have the videos, they are looking into it, and that probability is out there. It could come back with that this happened. The chair itself, I don't know where that ended up, but it's not that important because I believe that whomever would have had to have done that would have had to have looked up the instructions, like on Google or whatever. And if you find that would incriminate that person. Then the FBI, their forensic analysis team is nothing to sneeze at. They can go back years and look up all search engines that were available on all devices to look up everything that's ever been looked up and every conversation that's been said. You know that these people can't keep their mouths shut. So if this were the case, you know somebody said something. And so there you go. But you're saying rigged. I think that's the same thing as hacked. Exactly. Yes, Michelle. Thank you. That's why I'm yelling and getting frustrated because I'm like, you can't confuse the two. Thank you. That's exactly the wording. Yes. Yes, it says 7:56. And she's saying 4 minutes later at 8 a.m. is when she showed up at the pool. 4 minutes later. 4 minutes. So And I look at the pool area, and let's just argument's sake one more time. Let's just look at it again. Looking at the pool area. Within the pool, she says she comes to the pool, so she's within that pool area. Where in the hell is she standing that she can't tell that that's not a floating device? Tell me, where would she be standing? Okay, Tamara. Where would she be standing? If she's standing on the very top end, for example, okay, she's going to see it's not a floating device. If she's standing on the very bottom part of the area, she's going to see it's not a floating device. Either way, if you're standing on the top of the screen of where the pool is, the very top of the pool, you're standing at the bottom of the pool, you're going to see that that is not a floating device. Okay? Now let's go side to side. If you're standing from one side behind the trees, you're standing on the other side behind the trees, you're going to stand there for 1 complete hour? You're going to stand there for 30 minutes? How long are you going to stand there? She says she's at the pool. I'm sorry, but there's no way you can confuse, as Michelle had said, and there's no way you're going to confuse an adult man in an electric wheelchair in the middle of that damn pool for an inner tube. Yeah, Angie, I've been saying this for the past, what are we on, an hour and 47 minutes? I have been saying this for the past hour and 47 minutes. Yes. We went through the 911 call where the woman says she got there at 8 o'clock. We've gone over the timeline, I don't know how many times I've said it over and over again. I've given the timeline of when the 911 call goes in at 8:50, 8:50, 8:50. Okay, no problem. But 8:50. Okay, it was approximately 5 feet. Okay, well, there you go. So I got to get the measurements of the chair, because the chair was approximately 5 feet. And if he's sitting there, it was approximately, I don't know, give or take a couple of inches. I don't think it was under 5 feet. Where did you send it? Oh gosh, my on Facebook. Yeah, okay. Hold on, let me see if I can get it from, I should be able to get it from here. Hold on. Yeah, dagnabbit. The Facebooks. Let me see. Okay. Now, of course, I have to go fight with my files. Hold on. All right. Let me get you guys back. So let me remove this image file. This should be it. Simon says, okay. Not sure if you guys can see, but it does say 5 feet. And that's where Chris was sitting. So now I'm glad she took this picture. I'm glad she took this picture. Think about it now. Let's say this woman is standing behind those trees. She was standing behind those trees for almost an hour. Is there really? Oh my God, so this makes it worse. So help me, Jesus. Stay close to me, Lord. So it wasn't 4 women. There's a man there. You're going to tell me this man was unable to unvelcro him and get him out of the water. I don't know. I do remember that there was one. I'm not sure if that's the back gate where that guy is taking video of Chris being pulled out. They're weightless, Angie. They're weightless. Even if they couldn't take his whole body out, they could have at least held him, held him like a baby and had his head out so he would be breathing until the first responders got there. Nobody thought of that? Nobody thought of that at all? I'm telling you, I don't believe for 1 minute that these people, something doesn't sound right. Oh gosh, what time is it? It's between the cat and my husband. They're both trying to call me. But we have been on almost 2 hours. Right. We're looking at the spot where he would have went in. So I have to look for, but I'm almost positive the specs of that chair that he was in. And it's very possible at the very top of the back of where he's sitting against, it would have to be the very top of it, would have been noticeable above the water, or at least at the very top of the water, But no matter how you put it, it's not going to look like an inner tube. And so, yeah, I know. Well, that's been asked many times. I don't think that I think it was all a plan. It was all a plan. Okay, guys, we're going on 2 hours. And so like I said, we're still working on that video. And it's a couple of videos that Myrtle Beach had sent. Of course, naturally, the one of Chris, and we've gone over that quite a few times. And then the one of the man standing at the gate, which I find really, really strange and a little eerie. And then the one of behind the fire department and the ambulance showing up and the what do you call the other one? Fire rescue. And just seeing, and the bald guy with the thing in his hand, and Susie going back and forth, holding hands with one of the cops, which makes no sense to me. There's another photo. Hold on. Okay, I'll show this and then I have to go. Let me see. Let me get you back. Let me remove that. They don't let you show more than one picture at a time. I don't know why. I think this is the one she just sent. Yeah, because you see the 5 feet right there, and she said this is what Chris would have been looking at. So it's not like these trees are so highly dense. It's not like this area is that you can't see. There's just no way that this man would have been sitting there in a black chair in the middle of all this beautiful clear water and nobody would have seen him. There's no way you would have looked at that and went, oh yeah, that's a floating device. Some round inner tube. I'm sorry, it's just, I don't see that happening. Not for almost an hour, even a half hour. Again, the woman admits to coming there at 8 o'clock, and a phone call, the 911 call is not made till 8:50. So that is very questionable as far as I see it. That's how I see it. Anyhow, so thank you guys for joining me. Like I said, we're still working on those videos. We want to have them as crystal clear as possible. Oh, Angie, you and me both, girl. You and me both. I'm telling you, this is like exhausting talking about these two. But of course, God's timing is perfect. I hate having to say that, but we have no choice. But God's in control. I think they chose not to help. I think they chose it. I think it was a choice. Just like the guy standing at the gate, taking the photos, taking the videos. I feel like it was a group effort. I hate saying that because it's so wicked, but I don't know why. No. No, I think she's full of it. I think she's full of it. And like I said, let me see if I can get you. I'm going to put it in the chat one more time for you. Because I put it in there earlier, but I'll do it again. This is to the Fitz News 911 audio if you want to go and listen to it. And take it apart, listen to what the woman is saying again. Maybe we missed something. Who knows? Maybe you could hear what the people are saying in the background. Who knows? And if you do, just let me know. But anyway, I'm going to go, guys. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you being here. And we just have to pray. We have to pray and stay diligent in keeping the online protest going. Thank you for helping me, everybody that has been helping out. I really do appreciate it. We got to get Micah and Chris's name out there every day until we see justice. And it may be exhausting to keep it going, but it's worth it in the end. It's absolutely worth it in the end. So until I see you guys again, please stay safe and God bless.